Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're going to get straight into just a quick trade wrap. So it's all done, thankfully. God, I hate that period. But we'll talk about the ins, we'll talk about the outs, and most importantly, comment your thoughts. Let me know, out of 10, how you would rate our trade period, and then I'll give you mine at the end. But just to summarise, in Liam Henry, Paddy Dow, pick 21, pick 40, future third round pick, future third round pick. So that was from Melbourne and the other one was from Carlton. In terms of the outs, Jade Gresham, Nick Caulfield, Jack Billings, pick 35 to Essendon, pick 56 to the Bulldogs, future second round pick to Fremantle, which was for Liam Henry, and future fourth round pick to Fremantle. So I think that was a swap. So ins, we get a bit of run. We get two players that were first round picks, although we did lose players that were first round picks as well. We gained pick 21. We lost pick 35, so we upped that. We also lost 56, but we got 40 back. So our two picks there are actually better. 21 obviously is the Gresham compensation, which I think was a good deal in the end. We would have been silly to try and match that at all. 21 was great. And that was the beautiful thing, was that we kept 21, because I thought, yeah, we'll get 21 and then we'll try and split it somewhere else. We'll use it for Liam Henry, which would have been overs in my eyes. But no doubt Fremantle would have flagged that and brought that up in conversations with the club. But we held firm, which is fantastic, which means that we get to go to the draft with our original pick, which was pick 13, I think, 21, 40, and then obviously we've got future picks for next year. But that's not a bad hand to have in this year's draft. It's not an overly strong draft from what I've heard, so maybe 13 will be used. 21, maybe we can use that in other ways. We can still trade picks, I believe, so maybe even we'll use 13 and 21 and try and sneak into the top 5. That'd be amazing, but I highly doubt it. I think Liam Henry is great. Obviously, suits us really well. Perfect age demographic, young, uses the ball well, very good runner. That's our biggest strength in the lineup. Obviously, Ross Lyon wants to exploit that even more because you get Paddy Dow. He's a bit of a runner as well. Probably less, a bit rougher around the edges in terms of, him and Henry. But he brings, a bit of ball-winning, contested style football, which I think we need more of in the lineup. He's young, he's willing. He had a good stretch in the back end of this season with Carlton when they finally gave him a chance in the guts. He performed. One of his best games of the season was against St Kilda in that last quarter. He went nuts. I think he kicked a goal and was one of their best players on the ground. So Paddy Dow's a good pickup. I wouldn't have said that 12 months ago. I've said that before, but just seeing his development this year, and he hasn't had things his own way. He hasn't been picked every week, but when he got his chances, I thought he actually took them pretty well. And obviously Liam Henry, career best season, career best numbers in a team that was struggling for a lot of the year. Played 16 games, and I think him, Naz, Hilly, these guys are going to be amazing in the same team. I think there's going to be so much run, so much excitement. Brings a bit of X factor. And I guess in terms of backman, Dode would have been all right, but his preference was Brisbane, so apart from him, there weren't really many. Radigalia, perhaps, could have been one we looked at, but I think Port were always going to get him. There weren't really many other movements. So, when you see Kane Corns and he thinks that we've, not really done that well, I think we've gotten two youngsters in that wanted to get to the club, two youngsters that have got, decent ceilings, and will fit into our lineup seamlessly, fit the demographic, fit the style of football we want to play. And we lost players that didn't fit the style, didn't really want to be at the club. Jade Gresham, certainly. Jack Billings, I think, is a bit sad. I wanted to see Billings, like Koff, I guess, just have one good year under Ross and see how we go. JB, we got nothing. Future third round pick, I think we got for Jack Billings, which is pretty bad. I think we shot ourselves in the foot this year and maybe didn't play him. I think that he could have played at least a couple more games than what he did. He wasn't injured the entire time. I think he did play at Sandy for a bit, but that's done now, so he's gone. Bit sad to see. And then obviously Nick Caulfield. But it's good to see players leaving that I think for the last couple of years, a lot of fans have said, these guys are up in the air, question marks. The other one was Dougal Howard, the other one was Hunter Clark, but we kept them, which is fine. But it's good that you can see finally Ross has come in. He's had the full season. He came in after the trade period last year, so he didn't get the chance to cull, and he wouldn't have anyway because he didn't have the knowledge. He didn't have the proof in front of him, the data to make those decisions. But he got it. He saw Gresh for a lot of this year, 22 games or whatever it was. He knew what he was doing. He was happy to say, yep, you can go. Nick Caulfield, unfortunate, but it is what it is, went to the Dogs. And then Jack Billings, I think we've all known for a while that he just hasn't been able to become that player that we thought he could be. He may still become that player at Melbourne. Good on him if he does. But at St Kilda and the way we're moving forward, and I think the style of football we want to play under Ross, it wasn't really compatible. So I think it's fair. So in terms of the trade period, I actually think it was all right. Out of 10, and comment your ratings below, but I'll probably give it a 7. I think I'll give it a 7. I think we got stinged a little bit with the Jack Billings one. I think future third was a bit dodgy. Liam Henry, future second, I think is great. And then Paddy Dow was done pretty comfortably with Carlton. It would have been good to do a bit more, maybe one more player, but when you say that, who are the players, So there weren't any guns like last year where there was maybe Jordan De Goey or something like that. This year was Clayton Oliver, but that was just hogwash. That was nothing. It was false. So he would have been the one that you go, yeah, maybe, but that was kind of swept aside pretty quickly by Melbourne. And then there was no one else really. So I think we did what we needed to do. We've kept picks that are important, and I think we can trade up, or we can just use them and get some more youth in. We've got 2 players in that have got experience at AFL level. They've got pretty decent ceilings. They're young, willing, and I think they're going to suit the style of football that we want to play moving forward, and that's exactly the type of players that we want. So they're not the guns, but we've still got players that can develop into guns in the lineup, which is really exciting. Obviously, Mitch Owens is in Dwayne Russell's top 50 players in the comp. He's 46th. Sheasel wasn't. Ashcroft wasn't. Amos wasn't. There were a bunch of players that, were rising star chances. They weren't in his top 50, but Machida Owens was. So that says a lot there. So there's future stars in our lineup. Hopefully we can see that blossom next season. So put in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think of our trade period and then what you want to see in the draft with the picks that we've got. I'll respond to them when I can. And as always, thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week for some more Saints TV content. But until then, take care, and as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.